Though he made 4 solo albums for Motown, Michael Jackson now felt he was ready for creative control of his own solo album. All he needed was a producer, Quincy Jones, who shared his vision.
She's out of my life. She's out of my life.
Having worked with Quincy and New York from The Wiz, when he decided to do a solo album, that's who he petitioned. It's like, okay, you're the guy.
You have to talk about the cooperative of Michael and Quincy. Quincy's production and arrangement and incredible musicians and team with Quincy at the helm and Michael at the top of his singing game. You had Michael always pushing for a new sound, and Quincy, who knew always what was going to sell. You couldn't help but make a fabulous record.
The music is jazz. It's jazz with a rhythm and blues rock flavor to it. But the chord progression and all those things like that are jazz. That's what made those albums so big.
Released in 1979, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough went straight to #1. It was the first song on which Michael was the sole writer.
Sometimes I hear him in the middle of the night, he's screaming, he'd jump up out of the bed and go, woo, like, woo, and I thought, what is it? He said, he just got an idea while he was laying in bed, and he'd get up and he'd write it down. And then that's how he writes.
Michael had that now sound and some new innovative things to bring to the table.
There's the lead vocal, which he sings. Then there's the background vocals, most of which he's sang himself on his own records. He would double his voice, triple it, and then do the harmonies, all kinds of things, bring in other people if he wanted to. And then there was the third voice that nobody had done like Michael ever. Woo-hoo.
Just listen at the music. You know, all those things like that. That riff had never been done.
Girl, close your eyes. Let that rhythm get into you.
Rock With You off the Wall is my favorite one. That's my favorite one. And it's smooth, but you still feel the energy of it, even though it's kind of a mid-tempo song. That one seemed to be kind of, in a lot of ways, stripped away from the dancing and the performing and everything else, and you just go straight ahead forward with, you just get a clear example of what a talented vocalist he is when that's properly applied.
Rock With You also topped the charts. As Michael celebrated his 21st birthday, Off the Wall became the first album to produce 4 top 10 hits in the US and the first to produce 5 in the UK. With the next album, Michael Jackson would truly come of age.
Here was Michael Jackson, a man who was going to come out with this album that nobody had heard. This was the first single off it. That's all we heard. We didn't hear the rest of the album. So we knew very little about it except this one track. The record companies were very naive, and the management and the bands really hadn't done any videos, so there was very little brief. It was pretty much a blank page. I got a call from the management saying, oh, by the way, Michael Jackson wants to dance and should dance he's a great dancer during some of this. And I said, well, you know, of course. So I got a handheld camera in front of him, and we played the chorus, and he just was amazing. He just danced his way along these stones that lit up, and this poor electrician was trying to keep up with the lights that came on.
Just
could see through that lens that here was a phenomenon that was going to be unleashed on the world.
She looked at me, then showed a photo. Baby cried, his eyes were like mine. Go and dance on the floor in the round, baby.
People wondered if he would be able to follow up the success of Off the Wall. No black performance sold that many records domestically. Now people don't even remember that Off the Wall was as successful as it was because Thriller just blew the doors off of everything.
Everybody waited for the Thriller video. They trailed the Thriller video for months before you saw it. I mean, and everybody knew exactly what time on earth we were all going to watch that. Thriller went for the jugular. There was no question. It was like, bang.
'Cause it's a starlight night. That's what it was originally, and I watched it unfold where Quincy and Michael were in the room, and there was the feeling that he needed something a little more ambitious.
I wasn't that scared. You were scared.
Quincy and Michael started feeding, about, what would it be if it was like a thriller, like a scary movie, and we could get Vincent Price. Boddicker, do you have a wolf sound? And I put up a woo!
It's close to me.
Running for around 15 minutes, and with a budget of a rumoured $1 million of Jackson's own money, Thriller was the first to take the medium seriously. Taking the form of a short film rather than a video, it changed the whole approach of the pop industry. Michael Jackson hired horror specialist John Landis, making him the first film director to work on such a project.
We'll just try it once more.
Easy for you.
Very easy. Watch this. Go ahead.
The making of Thriller became the biggest selling home video of all time. The album won 7 Grammy Awards and spent the entire year in the top 10, with 37 weeks at number 1.
I don't think anything will ever beat it. I think, you're looking at an album that will stand in perpetuity as the greatest selling album of all time.
To date, Thriller has sold over 60 million copies worldwide, making it by far the biggest selling album ever.
Nobody ever gives him the credit he deserves. He was a phenomenon. None of us are ever going to achieve those sales. He was the only one that could. He did it. He became the king of pop.
Jackson had become the biggest recording artist of all time. His next aim, to become the most spectacular touring artist.
It worked. Somehow he pulled it off, and it was the most amazing ending to a show I have ever seen.